"Your room is taken," Elena said, not apologetic, just stating a fact. Like she was telling me the mail had come. I stood in the doorway of my own house, the one I'd bought in 1975, the one I'd signed over to my son Michael 3 years ago, holding my overnight bag. Behind her, I could see boxes stacked in what used to be my bedroom, Amazon logos on half of them. "We're using it for storage now," she added. "There's a hotel about 20 minutes down Route 9. Then she closed the door. Didn't slam it. That would have required emotion. Just closed it. Click. I heard the deadbolt slide. I was 72 years old, and I'd just been locked out of the house where my wife died. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments what time it is where you are now. I sat in my car for maybe 10 minutes, engine off. January cold seeping through the windows. The bedroom where Catherine and I had slept for 43 years was now Elena's storage unit for whatever she couldn't fit in the garage. Michael's truck wasn't in the driveway. He was at the job site, probably. Had no idea his wife had just turned his father away like I was a door-to-door salesman. Or maybe he did know. That thought sat in my chest like a stone. I drove to the hotel. Extended Stay America. $89 a night. I paid for 3 nights on my credit card and sat on the bed that smelled like industrial detergent. The room was 70 degrees, but I couldn't get warm. My phone buzzed around 7. Michael. "Hey, Dad. Elena said you stopped by. Sorry we missed you." Missed me, like I'd dropped by for coffee. "She said my room is being used for storage." "Oh, yeah. We needed the space. You know how it is. We've got so much stuff, and I gave you 3 weeks' notice I was coming." Silence. Then, "Did you? I don't remember seeing that." I'd sent the text December 12th, confirmed it January 2nd, but I didn't argue. "The hotel is fine," I said. "Great. We'll catch up tomorrow maybe. I'm slammed with this kitchen renovation right now." He hung up before I could respond. I sat there holding the phone, staring at our text history. December 12th, right there. Planning to visit January 15th or 18. Looking forward to seeing you both. His response, "Sounds good." January 2nd, me. "Still good for next week? Arriving Thursday afternoon." Him. Now he didn't remember. I opened my banking app. Not because I needed to check the balance, because I needed to see the numbers, make them real. April 2019, $127,000 transferred to Michael. Down payment on the house. My house. The one I'd bought for $43,000 in 1975, worth $380,000 when I signed the deed over. But he couldn't qualify for the mortgage without me, Elena had explained. So I'd transferred the deed to him, taken out a reverse mortgage on it first, given him the cash. All legal, all in writing. My lawyer had said, "Frank, are you sure about this?" I'd been sure. Michael was my only son. Catherine had been gone 2 years. The house was too big for me anyway. I'd moved to the condo in Florida we'd bought before she got sick. Michael and Elena would have the house. Fair. Except I'd kept one room. My old bedroom. Catherine's sewing room across the hall. That was the deal. "For when I visit," I'd said. Michael had agreed. Elena had smiled. "Of course, Frank. This will always be your home." December 2019, $8,400 to Michael. New roof. Emergency, Dad. Contractor needs payment up front. March 2020. $3,200. Furnace died. Can't get a loan right now. Everything's shut down because of COVID. July 2020. $5,800. Elena's car transmission. She needs it for work, Dad. November 2020. $2,100. Thanksgiving. They'd hosted. I'd paid for the dinner, the wine, the decorations. Since you're staying here anyway, Elena had said. I'd stayed in my room, the one that was mine. February 2021. $4,500. Property taxes. We're a little short this year. June 2021. $6,200. Kitchen renovation deposit. You'll love it when it's done, Dad. Really modern. October 2021. $3,900. Elena's dental work, not covered by insurance. January 2022. $2,800. Michael's truck needed new brakes, tires, something with the transmission. April 2022. $7,100. Deck repairs. Wood rot, Dad. Whole thing's unsafe. September 2022. $4,200. New appliances. The old ones died. December 2022. $5,300. Holiday expenses. Kids are expensive. They didn't have kids. Elena's niece and nephew she'd met. Gifts for them. I scrolled through 2 years of transfers, $53,500 in requests that had somehow become obligations, not counting the $127,000 for the house itself, $180,500 in 3 years. Catherine and I had saved that money over 40 years. She'd worked as a bookkeeper. I'd been a union electrician, then a foreman, then a supervisor. We'd lived carefully. No fancy vacations, no new cars every 3 years. We'd saved. For what? So my son could turn me away at the door of my own house? I'd visited 6 times since moving to Florida, stayed in my room each time. Christmas 2019, Easter 2020, Thanksgiving 2020. Catherine's birthday, June 2021, would have been her 71st. Christmas 2021, last summer, August 2022. 6 visits in 3 years. Each time I'd called ahead, given them weeks of notice. Bought groceries when I arrived, cooked dinners, fixed things. The leaking faucet in the bathroom, the loose boards on the deck, the garage door opener that stuck. I'd flown up from Florida every time. Round-trip tickets averaging $340. Rental cars because Michael was too busy to pick me up from the airport. And now my room was storage. I set the phone down. Hands steady. That surprised me. I thought about Catherine, how she'd loved that house, the kitchen where she'd baked bread every Sunday, the garden she'd tended for 30 years. Elena had paved it over for a patio in 2020. Low maintenance, Frank. You understand. The bedroom where she'd died. Hospice bed set up by the window so she could see her roses. I'd held her hand for 3 days while she drifted in and out. Michael had visited twice. Once the day after we brought her home. Once the day before she died. 30 minutes each time. Elena had waited in the car. Catherine had asked about him near the end. "Where's Michael?" "Work," I'd said. "He'll be back soon." She'd nodded. Known I was lying, squeezed my hand anyway. She'd been gone 4 years now. The house had been hers more than anyone's. She'd picked the paint colors, refinished the floors, planted every tree in the yard, and now it was storage for Amazon boxes. My phone buzzed again. Text from Elena. Frank, I wanted to explain about the room. We really do need the space. We're starting a home business and needed somewhere to keep inventory. I'm sure you understand. We can clear out the guest room downstairs if you need to visit. It's smaller, but it has its own bathroom. The guest room. 7 by 9 feet. Narrow window that overlooked the garbage cans. No closet. I stared at the text. She'd written it like she was doing me a favor. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my laptop, found the folder I'd labeled Michael House. Inside, every document from the transfer, the deed, the reverse mortgage paperwork, the agreement we'd signed, my lawyer had insisted on it, outlining the terms. Section 3, Paragraph B. Grantor retains indefinite right to master bedroom and sewing room for personal use during visits, minimum 30 days annually if desired. I'd never used 30 days, never wanted to impose, usually stayed 4 or 5 days, maybe a week at Christmas. But I had the right. I read the rest of the agreement. My lawyer had been thorough. Section 7. In the event grantor's rights under Section 3 are violated or revoked, grantor may reclaim full ownership of property upon 90-day notice, with grantee required to return all transferred funds or face foreclosure. I'd forgotten about Section 7. Michael and Elena had probably never read it. I sat there in that hotel room, 72 years old, staring at a paragraph my lawyer had added, just in case. "You never know," he'd said. "People change. Circumstances change." I'd laughed. Michael's not going to kick me out of my own house. Now I reread Section 7 3 times, let it sink in. The lawyer had built in a safety net. If they violated my rights to the rooms, I could take the house back. They'd have to return the $127,000. Plus the reverse mortgage amount, another $180,000. Total, $307,000. They didn't have $307,000. Michael's construction business barely broke even most years. Elena worked part-time at a salon. They'd spent everything I'd given them, plus the equity they'd pulled out for renovations. If I invoked Section 7, they'd lose the house. I closed the laptop, sat there in the dark. Catherine's voice in my head. "What are you going to do, Frank?" I didn't know yet, but I knew I wasn't going to let this go. The next morning I drove to the house. 9 a.m. Michael's truck was there. Elena's Honda, too. I knocked, waited. Elena opened the door, smiled. The kind of smile you give someone you're trying to manage. "Frank, good morning. Come in." I stepped inside. Michael was at the kitchen table, coffee in his hand. He looked up, nodded. "Hey, Dad." "We need to talk about the room situation," I said. Elena's smile tightened. "I texted you about that. The guest room downstairs. I'm talking about my room, the one in the agreement." Silence. Michael set down his coffee. "What agreement?" "The one we signed when I transferred the house. Section 3. I have rights to the master bedroom and sewing room." Elena's face changed. Not much. Just enough. "Frank, That was 3 years ago. Things change. We have needs. So do I. I need a place to stay when I visit my son. The guest room isn't what we agreed to. Michael stood up. Dad, come on. Be reasonable. We're trying to start a business. We need storage. You're barely here anyway. I'm here now. For 3 days. Then you'll go back to Florida, and we'll have a room sitting empty for another 6 months. I looked at him. Really looked at him. When had he started talking like this? Like I was a problem to solve? Michael, I said, I gave you this house, and we're grateful. But things change. We can't just leave a room empty on the off chance you might visit. I gave you notice. 3 weeks. We forgot. It happens. You forgot? Elena stepped forward. Frank, I think you're overreacting. We're offering you the guest room. That's reasonable. Most parents would be grateful to have anywhere to stay. Most parents? Like I was a guest in my own house. Like the $185 had bought me nothing but the privilege of being tolerated. I want my room back, I said. Calm. Steady. That's not possible right now, Elena said. We have 6 months' worth of inventory in there. We can't just move it. Then I guess we have a problem. Michael's jaw tightened. Dad, don't make this difficult. I'm not the one making it difficult. We offered you a solution. The guest room is available. That wasn't our agreement. Then maybe the agreement needs to change, Elena said. Sharp now, done pretending. I looked at her, looked at my son, saw it clearly for the first time. This wasn't about storage. This was about making it uncomfortable enough that I'd stop coming. I'll be at the hotel, I said. When you're ready to honor our agreement, let me know. I walked out. Michael didn't follow. I drove back to Extended Stay America, sat in the parking lot, called my lawyer. Frank, he said, been a while. I need to talk about Section 7. He was quiet for a moment. Then, what happened? I told him. All of it. The storage room, the hotel, Elena's text, Michael's response. When I finished, he said, You want to invoke it? I don't know yet, but I need to understand my options. 90-day notice, he said, in writing, sent registered mail. After 90 days, they either return all funds transferred, including the reverse mortgage amount, or you file for foreclosure. Judge would almost certainly rule in your favor given the documented agreement violation. They don't have that kind of money. Then they'd lose the house. It would go to sheriff's sale. You'd likely be able to buy it back for the mortgage amount owed. They'd be homeless. That's not your responsibility, Frank. You had an agreement. They violated it. The law is clear. I sat there, 72 years old, trying to decide if I was really going to take my son's house. Catherine's voice again. What would make you feel like a good father, Frank? That was always her question. When Michael had wrecked the car at 17, when he'd dropped out of college, when he'd started his business with no plan and no savings. What would make you feel like a good father? Usually it meant bailing him out, paying for things, fixing things, being there. But right now, I didn't know. Let me think about it, I told the lawyer. Don't wait too long. They're violating the agreement every day. That strengthens your case." I hung up. My phone buzzed immediately. "Michael." "Dad, we need to talk. Can you come back to the house?" I stared at the text. Part of me wanted to believe he'd realized he was wrong, that he wanted to apologize, clear out the room, make this right. But I'd been a father for 45 years. I knew better. "I'm at the hotel," I texted back. "You know where to find me." 20 minutes later, my phone rang. "Michael." "Dad, I can't leave right now. I've got a client meeting in an hour." "Then I guess it's not that important." "Don't be like this." "Like what?" "Difficult. Elena's upset. She thinks you're angry at her." "I'm angry at both of you." Silence. Then, "Because of a room?" "Because of respect. Because I gave you everything, and you can't even give me a place to sleep. We offered you the guest room. That wasn't our deal. Deals change, Dad. You have to be flexible." I hung up. He didn't call back. I sat in that hotel room for 2 days, ordered takeout, watched TV, thought about Catherine. My phone stayed quiet, except for one text from Elena. "Frank, Michael is very hurt by your behavior. We've been nothing but generous to you. I think you owe us an apology." I didn't respond. Day 3, I got a different call. My lawyer. "Frank, I got something interesting today. A letter from an attorney representing Michael and Elena." My chest tightened. "What kind of letter?" "They're claiming the agreement is void, that you coerced them into signing it. They're threatening legal action if you attempt to enforce Section 7. I sat down on the hotel bed. "Can they do that?" "They can try. They won't win. The agreement was notarized. You had independent counsel. They had time to review it. But they can make it expensive and time-consuming." "How expensive?" "Legal fees on both sides? Could be 20, 30,000 if it goes to court. More if they drag it out." I closed my eyes. Of course. Of course they'd lawyer up. What do I do? You have 2 options. Walk away, let them keep the house and the money and your room, or fight. Invoke Section 7. File the notice. Make them choose between coming up with $307,000 or losing the house. If I fight, what happens to them? Honestly? They lose the house, move into an apartment, probably blame you for the rest of their lives. But Frank, you need to understand something. They already made their choice. They chose to violate your agreement. They chose to hire a lawyer. They chose to threaten you. This isn't you being cruel. This is them facing consequences." I thanked him. Hung up, sat there in the dark again. Catherine's voice, one more time. "Frank, what do you want?" And I finally knew the answer. I wanted my house back. The house where Catherine had lived, where she died, where her memory was supposed to be safe. I wanted my son to understand that respect wasn't optional, and I wanted Elena to learn that kindness has limits. I called the lawyer back. "Draft the notice," I said. "Send it registered mail today." I heard him typing. "You're sure?" "I'm sure." 90 days, Frank. After that, this gets ugly. It's already ugly. I checked out of the hotel that afternoon. Drove to the house one more time. Michael's truck wasn't there, just Elena's Honda. I knocked. She answered, looked surprised to see me. "Frank, I thought you'd left." "I came to get some of Catherine's things." Her face changed. "What things?" "Her jewelry box, the photo albums, a few other items. Those are in the bedroom, the one we're using." "Then I guess you'll need to let me in." She hesitated, then stepped aside. The bedroom looked different. Their bed where mine had been. Catherine's dresser was gone. Her nightstand. The reading chair where she'd spent hours with her books. "Where's her furniture?" I asked. "We donated it. We needed space for our things." "You donated my wife's furniture." "Frank, it was just furniture. Old furniture. We kept the important stuff." "Where?" She pointed to the closet. "In there. The boxes on the top shelf." I opened the closet. Saw 2 boxes labeled Catherine in black marker, shoved in the back behind Elena's sweaters. I pulled them down, opened them right there. Catherine's jewelry box. Cheap wood, brass clasp. She'd had it since before we met. Inside, her wedding ring, her mother's pearls, the gold cross I'd given her on our 10th anniversary. Photo albums. 5 of them. Our wedding. Michael as a baby. Family vacations. Christmas mornings. A quilt her grandmother had made, folded at the bottom. That was it. 43 years in this house reduced to 2 boxes in the back of a closet. I looked at Elena. "This is all you kept?" "We kept what mattered." Her dresser mattered. Her chair mattered. To you, maybe. Not to us. I picked up the boxes, felt the weight of them. 2 boxes. Catherine's entire life here. "You're leaving?" Elena asked. "I'm taking what's mine." "Frank, about the letter from our lawyer." "I got it. So you understand we're serious." "So am I." Her face hardened. "You're going to regret this." "We'll see." I carried the boxes to my car, set them in the trunk, drove back to Florida. The 90-day notice arrived at their house 4 days later. Registered mail. Signature required. Michael called that night, screaming. "You're taking the house? Are you insane? Where are we supposed to go?" "That's not my problem. I'm your son. Then act like it. We offered you a room. You stored boxes in my bedroom and gave me a closet. So you're going to make us homeless? Over a room? Over respect? Over an agreement you signed? Over $180,500 you took and never paid back? Take your pick." "We don't have that money." "I know." He was quiet. Then, "I'll never forgive you for this. I can live with that." He hung up. Elena called 10 minutes later. Different approach, crying. "Frank, please. We made a mistake. We should have kept your room available. We're sorry. Please don't do this. You hired a lawyer, threatened to sue me. That was Michael's idea. I told him it was wrong. Please, we'll fix the room. We'll move everything out. You can stay whenever you want." "The notice is filed. 90 days. "Frank, we have nowhere to go. My family is in California. Michael's business is here. We can't afford to move. Please." "You should have thought about that. We'll pay you back. Every dollar. We'll set up a payment plan. You don't have that kind of money. We both know it." Her voice changed, cold now. "You're a vindictive old man. Catherine would be ashamed of you." I hung up. That night I sat in my condo in Florida. Palm trees outside. Sound of the ocean 3 blocks away. everything Catherine and I had dreamed about for retirement. She'd lived here 3 months before the cancer came back. 3 months of morning walks on the beach, dinners on the patio, peace, then hospice, then back to the house because she wanted to die in the bedroom where we'd spent our marriage. I'd granted her that, held her hand, buried her in the cemetery next to her parents, then given the house to Michael because that's what you do. You give your children everything and hope they understand what it cost. But he didn't understand. And now I was taking it back. The 90 days moved slowly. Michael called twice a week, always angry, then pleading, then angry again. I stopped answering. Elena sent texts, long ones about how I was ruining their lives, how they'd had plans, how this was cruel and unjust and Michael was falling apart. I didn't respond. My lawyer sent updates. They'd filed a motion to stop the foreclosure. Judge denied it. The agreement was clear. They'd tried to refinance, pull out cash. No bank would touch it with the legal claim on the title. They were trapped. Day 70, Michael's lawyer called mine with an offer. They'd move out voluntarily if I forgave the debt. They keep whatever equity they'd built. I keep the house. Everyone walks away. My lawyer called me. It's not a bad offer, Frank. Clean break. No foreclosure on their record. You get the house back. How much equity have they built? Maybe $30,000. They've been paying the mortgage 3 years. $30,000. After I'd given them $307,000. No, I said. Frank, they pay back every dollar or they get foreclosed. That was the agreement. Day 89, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Woman's voice. Mr. Peterson? This is Sandra Mills. I'm a friend of Elena's from the salon. Okay. I'm calling because I'm worried about her. She's not doing well. This stress with the house, it's really affecting her health. She's lost weight, having panic attacks. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you? Because you could stop this. You could let them stay. They violated our agreement. Over a room. You're destroying their lives over a storage room. This conversation is over. I hung up. Day 90 came on a Thursday, the deadline. My lawyer called at 9 a.m. They didn't pay. Foreclosure proceedings start Monday. How long until they're out? Sheriff's sale in 60 days. After that, probably another 30 for eviction. You could own the house free and clear by July. July. Catherine's birthday month. Keep me updated, I said. Michael called that afternoon. I answered. Dad. His voice was flat, defeated. We're going to lose the house. I know. We have nowhere to go. You'll figure it out. I'm your son. You were my son when you locked me out, when you stored boxes in my bedroom, when you hired a lawyer to threaten me. I'm begging you, please don't do this. I thought about all the times I'd bailed him out, the wrecked car, the dropped classes, the failed business ventures. Every time I'd fixed it. Every time he'd learned nothing. No, I said. Then you're not my father anymore. He hung up. I sat there holding the phone. 72 years old. Just lost my son. But I'd already lost him, hadn't I? I'd lost him the day he married Elena and stopped seeing me as a person, started seeing me as a resource. I'd lost him every time he forgot to call, every time he was too busy to visit, every time he said, "Thanks, Dad," and held out his hand for more. The foreclosure went through. Sheriff's sale scheduled for June 15th. I flew up from Florida the week before, stayed at the extended stay America again, drove past the house, for sale sign in the yard, big red foreclosure banner across it. Michael's truck wasn't in the driveway, neither was Elena's Honda. I didn't stop. The sale was at the courthouse. 11 a.m. Small crowd of investors looking for deals. The auctioneer started at $290,000. The mortgage balance. Nobody bid. He dropped to $280,000. One investor raised his paddle. Another bid $285,000. Back and forth, up to $305,000. Then quiet. Going once, the auctioneer said. I raised my paddle. $315,000. The room went quiet. We have $315,000. Do I hear $320,000? The other bidder looked at me, looked at the property listing, shook his head. Going once, going twice. Sold to bidder 47 for $315,000. I paid with a cashier's check, signed the papers, walked out owning my house again. Total cost, $315,000 purchase price minus $307,000 they owed me. Net, $8,000 to get my house back. I drove there that afternoon. My house. Legally, finally mine. Again. The locks had been changed. Sheriff's procedure. I had the new keys. I opened the door. Stepped inside. Empty. They'd taken everything. Furniture, appliances, light fixtures, ceiling fans. I walked through the rooms, every wall bare, carpet torn up in places, holes in the drywall where they'd ripped out the outlets and switches, kitchen cabinets, empty, closets, empty, garage, empty. They'd stripped it clean. I stood in the bedroom, our bedroom, Catherine's and mine. The window where she'd watched her roses still looked out over the yard. The roses were dead now, unpruned, overgrown, winter killed, but the window was the same. I sat down on the floor, bare wood, cold, and I cried, not because the house was empty, because Catherine was gone, because Michael was gone, because I was 72 years old sitting alone in an empty house I'd paid for twice. But it was mine, and nobody was going to take it again. I spent the next month putting it back together, hired contractors, bought furniture, replaced what they'd stripped, planted new roses outside the bedroom window, yellow ones, Catherine's favorite. By August, it looked like home again. Michael never called, never texted. Elena sent one message. I hope you're happy. You destroyed your family for a house. I didn't respond. But yeah, I was happy. Not because I'd won, because I'd stopped losing. I live here now. 6 months in Florida, 6 months in New York. The way Catherine and I planned. Sometimes I sit in the bedroom and talk to her. Tell her about my day, the roses, the book I'm reading. I think she'd understand. Not the fight, not the foreclosure, not losing Michael, but the boundary, the line in the sand that said, I matter too. She'd understand that. If you like this story, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions in the comments. To listen to more stories, click on the window on the right. Thank you for being with us.